I'm back with another theme day. We're going to be doing water level music. So this is going to be a wide range of interpretations of what does water sound like. This was suggested by Mars in the chat. This is Lake LaMode 1 from Super Mario Odyssey. I have not played Super Mario Odyssey. I have been out of the loop of Nintendo games for probably like 7 years now. But I know Mario has a lot of motifs, and beyond motifs, Mario has a lot of thematic elements and specific kind of music styles that it plays with. So let's see if this follows any of those conventions. I'm going to listen once all the way through for initial reactions and vibes, and then again for analysis. Let's go. Okay, already we have this very floaty harp kind of thing. It's very wondrous, very dreamlike, you know? It's all very high bell sounds and stuff, which is, you know, when you think of water, when you think of being underwater, everything's very muffled, you know? So it's like more going with the, like, feel, like the compositional feel of floatiness in water, rather than trying to, like, evoke it texturally, you know? Yeah, those chord changes sound very Mario. So now the harp is going downward over the chords. And then glissando's up a few times. Almost giving the impression of, like, bubbles escaping from something, the way that, like, the glissandos work. All these, like, high, I think those are piano notes. And when it ends on just those, like, da, 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 those notes, it almost evokes like a submarine radar beep, you know? Yeah, then it goes into this B section. This is very calming. It's like a lullaby, pretty much. Yeah. Then it loops and fades. All right, so this is a pretty sparsely composed track. It sounds like it's mostly just doing arpeggios up and down some chords with that little extra, that little upper, like, bell piano rhythm on it, right?
Okay, but before we break that down, let me tell you something. I don't have a sponsor for this video. My efforts are funded by generous contributions from viewers like you through Patreon. If you want to see more of this, and you want to hear more of my stuff than anybody else can right now, go to case.dog/join, or click that link up in the card and become a moonling. That's where you get to hear my unreleased music, get access to a VIP chat in my Discord where I post the evolution of my tracks as I work on them. You can get the master stems to my 100+ songs that I've put out. And there's tiers where you can see your name in a lower third in the video, which you're about to see. Thanks for listening, and yeah, I do have blue hair now. Back to the video.
So let's see what's happening here chord-wise. So we start with a C, but it sounds like it's a 4 of the chord that they start with. Yeah, I think so. Because it runs up this from C to F and then back to C. You hear that? So it sounds like it's... Sounds like we're sort of spelling out F. But here, when it does hit that F, there's a different voice doing a fourth of that too. So it runs up fourths in the intro. That's cool. Like minor seventh something, like interval that I hear in there too. Yeah, and then we start going up and down like an F major 7. And I hear it move to like a B flat. It does something like that. But it sounds like the central chord motion that we're starting with is this F7, and then going to its fourth, and doing like a sus2 sort of thing. Sounds like what we're doing is moving between F.
Queen Snuff gave $25.
Man, they beat you to it.
My bad.
Thank you so
Don't
much.
worry, I got you all covered. I just
Holy shit.
miscalculated the dono gold. Please excuse me while I pound my fists on the table.
Holy
Fish
fuck.
Hat, fish hat, fish hat.
We're doing it again. All right, here we go. Welcome, Queen Snarf. All right, it's time. I'm just gonna... We are under the sea today, motherfuckers. Believe me. All right, I have to do that, otherwise it just like... This hat is so loose on my head, it's like it comes off with the headphones otherwise. Okay. We have the fish hat. It's fish hat time. Water level time. All right, let's go. Okay. So, we are arpeggiating up and down. This F major 7 and this... I hear it as a B sus2, right? There's just because of the way that fourths and fifths work. Okay, I think the chords are mostly doing the same thing where we go. Essentially, we're doing that. Like that, right? So the melody here runs up just that F major kind of sound, right? So far we're just doing chord arpeggios and scale runs, right? It sounds like we're in... I don't think we've hit it. Yeah, the only black key we're hitting is B flat. So that's where we're at so far. It's a very floaty chord progression. It's a 1-4, essentially. And the melody is just serving that. Yeah. It does this major 7 jump. Which is like a very kind of whimsical thing to do in a melody. It just... Like, big jumps in melodies like that, especially for something like an underwater level song, it sort of gives, like I said before, almost like a submarine blip kind of effect, right? It sounds like something mysterious off in the distance. And occasionally it goes up to C, which is the 5, right? Very simple chord progression. 1 and 4 feels really floaty, and then going up to 4 to 5 is very similar when we're doing like that minor key stuff to like doing the 6, 7, 1 kind of thing. Like this is our 6, right? And we hear that a lot in songs where there's like a floaty kind of, and then it goes like, and resolves that way. This is our 1, right? So when we do that, deceptive cadence would bring us into 6, which is essentially what that 6, 7, 1 shit is, but this also just as well wants to resolve to major, right? So they do that. They give us this floatiness and then bring us back. So it's a very simple, whimsical thing with a resolution right at the end, basically. And that's just the A section. And it does the melody again. Yeah, and then okay, so there is this tail here. And what is that? That's not 4, that's 3. Yeah. Yeah, so now it's doing like a 3 into 4. Sort of. It sounded like it didn't move from that when it did that, right? It sounded like it just put that in the bass. Because when this steps up, that other chord, that's just the root of the next chord. So that may not have even been, that chord. It may have just been like a bass motion doing that. But even so, like even if all the arpeggios and stuff change the same, this is a third of this, which means that when you have a 7 chord, the top half of that 7 chord is the chord for the third, right? Because you build chords with the odds, right? Like you start with your root is 1, and then you have the third, and then you have the 5th, and then you have the 7th and 9th, etc. So by that logic, if you go up a third and you're trying to keep to the same scale, what you need to do to build chords are always going to fall within the like chord palette of the root chord, right? If that makes sense. So what I'm trying to say is, even if it does only move the bass down to there, as it stays in the, you know, this F thing up here, that's still essentially just playing this chord. Like, they're all part of the same chord. Except not really, because if this would be like a 6th, that wouldn't really be in the, that would be kind of in the way. But harmonically, it's compatible, you know? Redeem Hydrate Me. You can hear my voice cracking, I know. I've been recording metal all weekend. It's, so my voice is still recovering. I'm doing metal screams and shit. This is much more calming, I will say. So this B section has like a chord progression and then it just starts going off. All right, now here. We move our root to, like, the one beat then moves to this 4 chord, right? So where's it go from there? B? Ah, okay. I hear some of that happening. It's not happening all the time, but I can hear the chords switching. Like, it doesn't always do... It sounds like it's not always doing the root note, but I can definitely hear the chords switching in some sort of pattern like this. So we start on this 4, this B flat, and then we go down to the 3rd, which is this A minor. And I hear, like, D as a passing tone, and then... this descent, basically a 2-5-1 kind of rolling descent, right? What kind of hot tea are you drinking? This is, it's Constant Comet green tea. It's like orange spice green tea. It's great. I love me that spice, the fumes of this very, very oversteeped lukewarm tea. Okay, so we have... Okay, and it does that once. So this descent that it's doing, other than this first one, what it does here is this jumps up a 4th, right? From 3 to 6. And then jumps down to 2. And then up a 4th again to the 5th. So we jump up to the 5th of the chord, which we'll want to resolve down to 1, right? This is music theory shit. This is actually jumping down the circle of 5ths. If I start on F and I just play, if I just stack perfect 5th power chords, right? Like that, we have F5. I believe, yeah. This is an F sus2. Then we add a 6 to that. And then... so, at the top here, we have this A. So if we were to move down from this A and try to land on F, just moving down the circle of 5ths, right? We'd start on A, then go to D, then go to G, then go to C, then go to F. And that would just be rolling down perfect 5ths. So let's say we don't want to roll our roots down that many octaves because that's spread pretty far. Fortunately, notes are doubled in all octaves, so we can just access those within the same octave. So when we slide down to this 3, do that 4-3 thing. This is now the A that was up here at that circle of 5ths, and essentially what we're doing now is going down the circle of 5ths. So an A would go down to a D would go down to the G would go down to the C, and then the C would go down to the F. And so we're just kind of, by doing that kind of rocking up and down, grabbing a note, going lower, grabbing a note, going lower, it's actually walking down the circle of 5ths to get there. I love that kind of when the circle of 5ths and like things like that come up in music theory, because it's such like a, this comes from like a theory, like there's a shape of like musical harmonic relations that this comes from, and they're just like using it and interpreting it, right? And it definitely, like the circle of 5ths is it's very floaty and very like wandering if you just kind of move around it as like steps up and down. So I think that's cool. But that's only like one half of this B section, right? Because after it ends on F, where does it go? Ah, and then it does something interesting. It actually plays a B natural, And it sounds like it's doing like a... Sounds like it's doing like a G major. Like a G major 7 with a B in the bass. But we do hit a note with like a natural. So I think what we're doing, because we have this F, now we're going to, like, stepping up, basically stepping up a whole step and making it major, but I don't know if that's actually what it's trying to do. Because it doesn't sound like it's doing a, B major. It sounds like that B natural is just part of a chord. Because you definitely hear the bass go to it. But it sounds like it's doing it as part of a G chord. So we walk up. And then... so is it doing another circle of fifths thing? Yeah, and then we skip past that B natural, go back into our normal F key, and hit that 3 again. Then chromatically step down to that would be the minor third. And then I think, yeah, another major, like, second interval. Then we hit a major sixth. Or rather, we hit the sixth, yeah, we hit the sixth of the scale and play a major chord over it, rather than the minor chord it would normally be. So that just, it's like a coming to the surface, right? Coming for a breath of fresh air. Yeah, and then we go to the 4 of this chord. So D major is now where we're at, and then we go to the G. And you hear like a little add 9 onto that chord when it moves back to it. Yeah, it sounds like we hit a G minor 7. So this was D major, and then G, and then D, and then G minor. It's something like that. And then we hit a C. Ah, I see. I see. So we have this G minor now. And then it moves to C, I think, which is another 5-1 motion. And then it is another 5-1 motion to go back to F. So it gracefully floats harmonically from that modulated, like coming up for air kind of interval. Back to the root. That's actually really cool. Then it comes back through and does the melody. Yeah, and then it loops. And that's basically both sections. So this is cool. It's very floaty. That is definitely the angle of water that they're going with for this composition, right? Is to sound floaty. The arpeggios are way wider than this, but this is the effect you're getting, right? love that. And the way that it modally changes that G, it turns that G from minor to major so that it can use it to put us into D major. And then it changes that G major back to G minor in order to 2-5-1 us back into F. That's cool as hell. This is very creative with the imagery that it's trying to produce, right? It uses some simple tenets of music theory that sound very pleasant, but also very, very like incongruent, I guess, to create that sensation of like being wistfully floating. I like this. I'm gonna give this one, it's my first rating for today. And we're starting out with a 4. I give a lot of 4s, but I gotta say, this one's cool. It's short and sweet, but it's interesting. It's given us the vibe right off the bat, I gotta say. So that was Lake LaMode by Super Mario. This is a Lake LaMode 1 from Super Mario Odyssey, suggested by Mars in the chat. Thank you for that. It's a good start to our water level theme day. Super Mario himself. Yeah, like the fucking credits of the Super Mario movie where like they didn't credit Grant Kirkhope. The DK rap by Donkey Kong. Like, he did it.
All right, how do you think I did? If you like the analysis, hit like. If you want to see more stuff like this in the future, hit subscribe and the bell to make sure you see when new videos go up. Let me know what you think. Is there anything you think I missed or glossed over? Let me know in the comments. I would love the feedback. I'll see you next time.